Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Leviathan, staring out at the endless darkness of space. The massive battleship moved silently through the Kepler 442 system, its 15-kilometer hull cutting through the void like a metal mountain. Around him, nearly 200 crew members worked at their stations, monitoring everything from weapon systems to life support. Jake had commanded many ships during his 20-year career, but nothing compared to the Leviathan. The Titan-class battleship was humanity's greatest achievement in military engineering. Its hull could house entire cities and its weapon systems could level planets. More importantly, it carried 180,000 people who called this ship home. "Captain," called Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hamilton from her tactical station, "I'm picking up something strange on long-range sensors." Jake walked over to her console, his boots echoing on the metal deck. The bridge was huge, almost the size of a football field, with dozens of workstations spread across multiple levels. "What do you have, Lisa?" Lisa pointed at her screen, which showed several moving dots on the edge of their sensor range. "Unknown contacts approaching from Sector 7. They're moving at incredible speed, but I can't identify their energy signatures. Nothing in our database matches these readings." Jake felt his stomach tighten. Humanity had been exploring space for over 2 centuries, but they had never encountered intelligent alien life. There were theories, of course, and preparations had been made. The Leviathan itself was built partly because scientists believed humans would eventually meet hostile aliens. "How many ships?" Jake asked. 12 confirmed contacts, possibly more behind them," Lisa replied. "Captain, their propulsion systems are completely unknown. They're not using fusion drives or antimatter engines. It's something else entirely." Jake turned to his communications officer, Lieutenant Ben Parker. "Ben, send out a standard first contact message on all frequencies. Include mathematical sequences and peaceful intentions." Ben's fingers flew over his keyboard. "Message sent, Captain. Broadcasting in multiple languages and formats." The bridge fell silent except for the quiet hum of machinery. Everyone knew this moment could change human history forever. Jake had trained for first contact scenarios, but the reality felt surreal. After a few minutes, Ben looked up with excitement. "Captain, I'm receiving a response. The signal is coming from the lead vessel, and it's using our own mathematical sequences. They're trying to communicate." Jake felt relief wash over him. "Put it on speakers." Strange sounds filled the bridge. The alien voices were musical, almost like singing, but there were patterns that suggested language. After several exchanges, the universal translator began making progress. "Greetings, unknown vessel," came a translated voice. "I am Admiral Vextar of the Zephyrian Collective. Your ship is unlike anything we have encountered. Please identify yourself." Jake straightened his uniform and nodded to Ben. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth ship Leviathan. We represent humanity and come in peace. Welcome to our space." There was a long pause before Admiral Vextar responded. "Captain Morrison, your vessel appears to be a mobile space station. Are you perhaps the commander of a fleet?" Jake frowned. He looked at Lisa, who shrugged. "No, Admiral Vextar. The Leviathan is a single ship. I am its captain." Another pause, longer this time. "Captain Morrison, our sensors indicate your vessel is 15 kilometers long and masses over 50 million tons. You claim this is one ship?" "That's correct," Jake replied. "The Leviathan is a Titan-class battleship. We have smaller ships aboard, but this is indeed one vessel under my command." Jake could hear what sounded like excited chatter in the background of the alien transmission. Admiral Vextar spoke again, his voice filled with amazement. "Captain Morrison, in our entire history, we have never encountered a single vessel of such proportions. Our largest ships are barely 1 kilometer long. How is such a thing possible?" Chief Engineer Colonel Mary Phillips stepped forward. She had been listening to the conversation with growing interest. "Captain, perhaps we should offer them a meeting. This could be the beginning of something historic." Jake nodded. "Admiral Vextar, would you be willing to meet in person? We could arrange a neutral location for diplomatic talks." "We would be honored, Captain Morrison," came the reply. "However, we must warn you that news of your ship will travel quickly. The Galactic Council will want to know about humanity and your impressive vessel." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "Galactic Council?" "Yes, Captain. The Council of Allied Races governs this region of space. 12 different species work together to maintain peace and order. Your arrival will be of great interest to them." Lisa leaned over to Jake and whispered, "Sir, this changes everything. We're not just making first contact with one species. There's an entire galactic civilization out there. Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for his decision. The weight of representing all humanity suddenly felt enormous. Every choice he made could affect billions of people back on Earth. Admiral Vextar, Jake said finally, we welcome the opportunity to meet with your council. Humanity seeks peaceful relations with all intelligent species. Excellent, Captain Morrison. We will construct a neutral meeting platform between our fleets. However, I must ask one favor. Could you perhaps move your ship a bit farther away? Its size is quite intimidating to my crew. Jake almost smiled. The Leviathan was impressive, but he had never thought of it as scary. To humans, it represented protection and strength, but he could understand how aliens might see it differently. Of course, Admiral. We'll maintain a respectful distance. As the Leviathan slowly moved away from the alien fleet, Jake watched the smaller alien ships on the main screen. They were beautiful in their own way, sleek and graceful like silver fish swimming through space. But compared to the Leviathan, they looked like toys. Captain, Lisa said quietly, do you think they're friendly? Jake considered the question. They seem peaceful enough, but Lisa, make sure all our systems are ready. We don't know what we're dealing with yet. Already on it, sir. All weapon systems are on standby and our shields are at full power. Jake nodded and returned to his captain's chair. Outside, the alien ships continued their careful approach, their alien crews probably as nervous as his own. Humanity was about to take its first steps into a larger galaxy, and the Leviathan would lead the way. He opened a ship-wide communication channel. Attention all hands, this is the captain. We have made contact with an alien species. This is a historic moment for humanity. Stay alert, follow protocols, and remember that you represent Earth and all its people. Morrison out. The bridge buzzed with quiet excitement as preparations began for humanity's first diplomatic meeting with aliens. Jake looked out at the stars and wondered what other surprises the galaxy might hold. The meeting platform took 12 hours to build. Both human and alien construction teams worked together to create a neutral space station in the empty area between their fleets. Captain Jake Morrison watched the process from the Leviathan's bridge, impressed by how quickly the aliens could assemble complex structures. Captain, said Chief Diplomat Helen Carter as she approached his chair, I've reviewed all our first contact protocols. We should be ready for anything they might ask or propose. Helen was Earth's top diplomat, specially trained for situations like this. She had spent years studying alien psychology theories and cultural communication. But like everyone else, she was facing the unknown. What's your assessment of their behavior so far? Jake asked. They seem genuinely peaceful, Helen replied. Their language patterns suggest a collective society. They use plural pronouns even when speaking as individuals. It might indicate they make decisions as a group, rather than having single leaders. Commander Ryan Brooks, the ship's security chief, joined the conversation. Captain, I still think this is risky. We know nothing about their true capabilities. What if this is all an act? Jake understood Ryan's concerns. The security chief's job was to protect the ship and crew from any threats. But Jake also knew that humanity needed to take this chance. We'll be careful, Ryan, but we can't let fear stop us from making history. 2 hours later, Jake found himself aboard a shuttle heading for the meeting platform. Helen sat beside him, reviewing her notes one final time. Ryan came along with a small security team, though they carried no visible weapons as a sign of good faith. The platform was remarkable. Built from both human and alien technology, it looked like a crystal flower floating in space. The alien sections glowed with soft blue light, while the human areas showed the familiar gray metal of Earth construction. As they docked, Jake felt nervous excitement. Through the shuttle windows, he could see an alien ship approaching from the other direction. It was beautiful, all curves and flowing lines like someone had shaped liquid silver into a spacecraft. The meeting room was at the center of the platform. As Jake and his team entered, they saw the aliens for the first time. Admiral Vextar was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the light. His eyes were large and dark, and he had 4 arms instead of 2. Behind him stood Dr. Kelnara, a scientist with similar features but covered in intricate tattoos that moved and changed color as Jake watched. Captain Morrison, Admiral Vextar said, his voice melodic even through the translator, "It is an honor to meet you in person. You are much smaller than we expected." Jake smiled. "The honor is ours, Admiral." This is Chief Diplomat Helen Carter and Security Chief Commander Ryan Brooks. The formal introductions continued, but Jake could sense tension building. Dr. Kelnara kept staring at them with obvious curiosity, while Admiral Vextar seemed increasingly puzzled by something. "Captain Morrison," the alien admiral finally said, "I must ask again about your ship. You truly command such a massive vessel alone. In our society, decisions of such importance require input from many minds." Helen stepped forward. "Admiral, human military structure is based on clear command hierarchy. Captain Morrison has absolute authority over his ship, but he consults with his officers and follows orders from Earth Command." Dr. Kelnara spoke for the first time. "Fascinating. You give such power to one individual. What prevents him from using your great ship for personal gain?" The question caught Helen off guard. "Well, we have laws and ethics. Captain Morrison took an oath to protect humanity and follow his orders. But who enforces this oath if he has the most powerful ship?" Dr. Kelnara pressed. Ryan stepped forward, his face showing irritation. "The captain's honor enforces it. He would never betray his duty." The aliens looked confused by this concept. Admiral Vextar spoke quietly with Dr. Kelnara in their own language, before turning back to the humans. "We find your system difficult to understand," Admiral Vextar said. "In our collective, all major decisions are made by consensus. No individual holds such concentrated power." The conversation continued for several more hours, covering topics from trade to technology to territorial boundaries. But Jake could feel the aliens growing more uncomfortable as they learned about human society and military structure. The real problem started when Dr. Kelnara made a request. "Captain Morrison, would it be possible for our science teams to examine your ship? We are very curious about how humans build such large vessels." Ryan immediately objected. "Absolutely not. The Leviathan contains classified military technology. We cannot allow foreign nationals aboard." Dr. Kelnara's tattoos flashed bright red. "Foreign nationals? We are not enemies, Commander Brooks. We seek only knowledge." "Knowledge of our weapons and defenses," Ryan replied firmly. "The answer is no." Admiral Vextar raised one of his 4 hands. "Perhaps we misunderstood. We do not seek to learn your weapons. We are interested in your construction techniques and power systems." Helen tried to mediate. "Admiral, perhaps we could arrange limited tours of non-sensitive areas. Our engineering sections might be acceptable." But Ryan shook his head. "Any tour would reveal too much. These beings could be scouts for a larger military force." The alien tattoos now flashed angry orange patterns. Dr. Kelnara stood up quickly. "You invite us to peaceful talks, then accuse us of military spying? This is not the behavior of a peaceful species." "We're being cautious," Jake said, trying to calm the situation. "Surely you understand the need for security." "What we understand," Admiral Vextar said coldly, "is that you build enormous warships and refuse to share knowledge. This suggests aggressive intentions." The meeting deteriorated quickly after that. Both sides began making accusations and demands. The aliens wanted proof of human peaceful intentions, while the humans wanted guarantees about alien military capabilities. Finally, Admiral Vextar stood to leave. "Captain Morrison, we will report this meeting to the Galactic Council. They will decide how to handle your species and your massive warship." As the aliens departed, Jake felt like everything had gone wrong. What started as a historic first contact had turned into a diplomatic disaster. "Captain," Ryan said as they walked back to their shuttle, "I think we just made some enemies." Helen looked worried. "The way they talked about this Galactic Council concerns me. It sounds like they have real political power in this region of space." Jake stared out at the Leviathan as their shuttle approached. The massive battleship looked peaceful enough, floating silently in space. But he was beginning to understand how intimidating it might appear to others. "Get me a secure channel to Earth Command," he told Ben Parker as they reached the bridge. "We need to report what happened here." As the communication linked up, Jake wondered if humanity's first contact with aliens would also be its last peaceful one. The galaxy suddenly felt much more dangerous than before. News of humanity's massive battleship spread across the galaxy, faster than anyone expected. Within days of the first contact, emergency sessions were being called on dozens of worlds. The Galactic Council of Allied Races had not faced such a crisis in over 3 centuries. The council chamber on Nexus Prime was enormous. designed to accommodate 12 different species with varying environmental needs. Crystalline beings floated in special atmosphere tanks while insectoid delegates skittered across specially designed platforms. Energy creatures flickered in containment fields, and various humanoid species sat in traditional chairs. Counselor Prime Zalthi of the Thraxian Hive clicked his mandibles nervously as he called the session to order. His insect-like body was covered in green chitin that reflected the chamber's lights. Around him, the other council members took their positions, their various forms creating a bizarre but impressive display of galactic diversity. Fellow counselors, Zalthi began, his voice transmitted through electronic translators. We face an unprecedented situation. A new species has appeared in our space, and their military capabilities far exceed anything we have encountered. On the massive holographic display in the center of the chamber, an image of the UES Leviathan appeared. Even as a hologram, the ship looked impossibly large. Gasps and nervous sounds came from several council members who were seeing it for the first time. Counselor Vera Kwan of the Luminari, a being of pure energy contained in a humanoid force field, spoke first. The energy readings from this vessel are extraordinary. Our sensors indicate it generates more power than most planetary installations. The size alone is troubling, added Counselor Theknor of the Geodites, his crystalline body chiming like bells as he moved. Our largest dreadnoughts are barely 1/20th the mass of this single ship. Admiral Vextar, attending as a witness, provided his report on the meeting with the humans. He described Captain Morrison's absolute authority over the vessel and the humans' refusal to share technological information. They showed clear signs of military paranoia, Vextar explained. Their security chief immediately assumed we were spies. These humans think like warriors, not diplomats. Counselor Prime Zalthi processed this information with growing concern. The Thraxian hive mind was naturally suspicious of species that concentrated power in individuals. Tell us about their leader, this Captain Morrison. He appeared reasonable but was clearly in complete control of his ship and crew, Dr. Kelnera added, her tattoos shifting to worried blue patterns. They follow a strict hierarchy that gives enormous power to single individuals. It is unlike anything in our experience. The chamber erupted in concerned chatter as council members discussed the implications. The Galactic Council had been built on principles of collective decision-making and shared power. The idea of giving one person control over such a massive weapon was deeply disturbing to most species. Counselor Hexmara of the Cordon Empire stood up, her reptilian features twisted in anger. This human ship is clearly a threat to galactic peace. We should demand they remove it from our space immediately. And if they refuse? Asked Counselor Peltara of the Etherian Collective, her ghostly form shimmering with concern. Then we show them the price of defying the Council, Hexmara replied, her claws extending menacingly. But before the debate could continue, a new voice interrupted. With respect, counselors, perhaps we should hear from humanity's representative before making any decisions. All eyes turned to Dr. Elena Rodriguez, who stood at the witness platform. She was Earth's first ambassador to the galaxy, hastily appointed when news of the alien contact reached Earth. Elena was a xenobiologist who had spent her career studying the possibility of alien life, but she had never imagined she would be defending humanity to an actual galactic government. Counselors, Elena began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. I understand your concerns about the Leviathan, but you must understand, humanity built these ships because we expected to encounter hostile aliens. We had no knowledge of your peaceful council. Counselor Prime Zalthi leaned forward. You expected to find hostile aliens? What made you think we would be enemies? Elena took a deep breath. Human history is filled with conflict. When we began exploring space, our scientists theorized that alien species might try to conquer or destroy us. The Titan-class battleships were built as a defensive measure. Defensive? Counselor Hexmara laughed harshly. That ship could destroy our entire home fleet. How is that defensive? Because we were planning for the worst possible scenarios, Elena replied. Humans believe it's better to be over-prepared than vulnerable. The council members exchanged worried glances. The idea that humans automatically assumed aliens would be hostile was deeply troubling to species that had spent centuries building peaceful cooperation. Counselor Viraquan's energy form flickered with concern. Dr. Rodriguez, how many of these massive ships does humanity possess? Elena hesitated. She had been instructed to be honest, but not to reveal everything about Earth's military capabilities. The Leviathan is the first completed Titan-class vessel. Others are under construction. How many others? Counselor Prime Zalvi pressed. 11 more are planned, Elena admitted reluctantly. The chamber fell silent. The implications were staggering. 12 ships like the Leviathan would give humanity the most powerful space fleet in the galaxy by far. Counselor Theknor's crystalline body rang like alarm bells. 12 such vessels could conquer our entire region of space. No single species should possess such power. That's not humanity's intention, Elena protested. We seek peaceful coexistence with all species. Captain Morrison specifically requested diplomatic talks. After refusing to share technology and treating our scientists like spies, Counselor Hexmara shot back. These humans clearly have something to hide. The debate continued for hours. Some council members, led by the militaristic Cordon Empire, wanted to demand that humanity dismantle their battleships immediately. Others, including the wise Etherian collective, counseled patience and further diplomacy. Counselor Peltara floated forward, her ghostly form radiating calm wisdom. Perhaps we are approaching this incorrectly. Instead of seeing humanity as a threat, we should consider what they might offer as allies. Allies? Counselor Hexmara hissed. They could destroy us all. Exactly, Peltara replied. Which means they could also protect us all. The galaxy faces threats from beyond our borders. Hostile species from other regions occasionally probe our defenses. Having powerful allies might be beneficial. Elena seized on this opening. Counselor Peltara is correct. Humanity has no desire to conquer anyone, but we are prepared to defend ourselves and our friends. Counselor Prime Zalvi considered this carefully. The Thraxian hive mind was processing thousands of possibilities and outcomes. Finally, he spoke. Dr. Rodriguez, humanity's military power is undeniable, but power without wisdom is dangerous. How can we trust that your species will use this power responsibly? Elena thought of Captain Morrison and the crew of the Leviathan. She thought of Earth and the billions of people who wanted nothing more than to live in peace and explore the stars. Because, Counselor, humanity has learned that true strength comes from protecting others, not conquering them. Give us a chance to prove that. The session was adjourned without a decision, but Elena could see the fear in the council members' eyes. Humanity had arrived in the galaxy with overwhelming force, and now everyone was trying to figure out what that meant for the future. 3 days after the council session, Captain Jake Morrison was reviewing diplomatic reports when alarms began sounding throughout the Leviathan. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hamilton's voice echoed across the bridge with urgent intensity. Captain to the bridge immediately. We have multiple incoming contacts moving fast and in attack formation. Jake ran from his ready room to the bridge, where he found his crew at battle stations. The main screen showed 30 sleek warships approaching from the direction of Cordon space. Their hulls were dark red with angular designs that looked aggressive and predatory. Report, Jake ordered as he took his captain's chair. 30 Cordon destroyers, Captain, Lisa announced. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, demanding we surrender and prepare to be boarded. Commander Alex Turner, the weapons officer, looked up from his station. Sir, they're powering up weapons and targeting systems. This isn't a diplomatic visit. Jake felt anger building in his chest. After days of trying to establish peaceful relations, someone had decided to use force instead. Communications, get me their fleet commander. Lieutenant Ben Parker worked quickly at his station. Channel open, Captain. A harsh voice filled the bridge, speaking heavily accented English. Human vessel, this is General Thakmor of the Cordon Imperial Fleet. By order of the Galactic Council, you will surrender your ship immediately. Jake stood up, his voice calm but firm. General Thakmor, this is Captain Morrison. The Galactic Council issued no such order. We are here peacefully under diplomatic immunity. The Council fears your massive weapon, human. We have come to remove the threat you represent to galactic peace. We represent no threat to anyone, Jake replied. But we will defend ourselves if attacked. General Thakmor's laugh was cold and mocking. Your single ship against 30 of our finest warships? You are outnumbered and outgunned, Captain. Surrender now and your crew will be treated with mercy. Jake looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were scared but determined, ready to follow his orders no matter what happened. The weight of their lives and the future of human-alien relations rested on his next decision. Commander Turner, Jake said quietly, Bring our defensive systems online, but do not target their ships unless I give the order. Aye, Captain, Alex replied. Shields at maximum power. Point defense systems active. On the main screen, the Cordon ships continued their approach. They were beautiful in their own way, but their weapons were clearly visible and obviously powerful. Each destroyer was about the size of a human cruiser with crews of several thousand. General Thakmore, Jake said, this is your final warning. Withdraw your ships immediately or face the consequences. The consequences? Thakmore laughed again. Human, you are about to learn why the Cordon Empire is feared throughout the galaxy. The first Cordon ship opened fire, sending bright energy beams toward the Leviathan. The shot struck the massive battleship shields, creating brilliant flashes of light but causing no damage. More ships joined the attack, filling space with weapons fire. Shields holding at 98%, Lisa reported. Their weapons are barely scratching us. Jake realized that the Cordon commander had made a serious mistake. He had assumed that human shields would be similar to other alien technologies, but human defensive systems were built to withstand much more powerful attacks. General Thakmore, Jake said calmly, cease fire immediately. You cannot penetrate our defenses and continued attacks will be considered acts of war. Impossible, came the angry reply. No single ship can withstand the combined firepower of 30 destroyers. You're about to learn otherwise, Jake said. He turned to Alex Turner. Commander, show them what human engineering can do. Activate gravity manipulation systems. Alex's fingers moved across his control panel, bringing online one of the Leviathan's most advanced systems. The massive battleship began generating artificial gravity fields around the enemy ships. On the main screen, the Cordon destroyers suddenly began spinning wildly, as localized gravity distortions grabbed their hulls. Ships that had been firing moments before were now tumbling helplessly through space, their crews probably being thrown around their bridges. What is this sorcery? General Thakmore demanded, his voice now filled with fear instead of anger. Not sorcery, General, Jake replied. Just human technology. We're demonstrating precise control over gravitational forces. Notice that we're not crushing your ships or killing your crews. We could, but we choose not to. The gravity fields continued to hold the Cordon ships, keeping them from firing while causing no permanent damage. It was a perfect demonstration of overwhelming technological superiority, combined with restraint and mercy. This is impossible, Thakmore whispered. No species has mastered gravity manipulation to this degree. Colonel Mary Phillips spoke up from her engineering station. Captain, we're receiving dozens of transmissions from other alien ships in the area. Word is spreading fast about what just happened. Jake nodded. He had wanted to avoid a public demonstration of human military capabilities, but the Cordon attack had forced his hand. Now every species in the galaxy would know exactly how powerful human ships really were. General Thakmore, Jake said, I'm going to release your ships now. You will withdraw immediately and report to your government that humanity demonstrated mercy when we could have shown destruction. Any future attacks will not end so peacefully. The gravity fields disappeared and the Cordon ships stopped spinning. Several of them had minor damage from the experience, but all crews were alive and unharmed. The destroyer fleet quickly retreated toward Cordon space, their commander silent. Captain, Ben Parker said, I'm receiving a priority transmission from Dr. Rodriguez at the Galactic Council. She says the entire council witnessed what just happened through long-range sensors. Jake sat back in his captain's chair, suddenly feeling very tired. Put her through. Elena's face appeared on the screen, her expression mixed with relief and concern. Captain Morrison, are you and your crew all right? We're fine, Doctor. The Cordon attack failed completely. How is the council reacting? They're terrified, Elena admitted. The Cordon Empire has been considered one of the most militarily powerful species in the galaxy. Seeing their ships disabled so easily has shocked everyone. That wasn't our intention, Jake said. We were forced to defend ourselves. I understand, Captain. But you need to know that everything has changed now. The Council has seen what human technology can really do. Some members are more frightened than ever, but others are beginning to see possibilities they hadn't considered before. Lisa Hamilton looked up from her tactical station. Captain, we're receiving scanner data from the engagement. Our gravity manipulation affected space itself in ways the aliens have never seen. Their scientists are probably going crazy trying to figure out how we did it. Jake realized that the demonstration had revealed far more about human capabilities than he had intended. The aliens now knew that humanity could manipulate fundamental forces of physics in ways they had never imagined. "Dr. Rodriguez," Jake said, "what happens now?" "Now, Captain, the entire galaxy knows that humanity cannot be conquered by conventional means. The question is whether they'll see us as protectors or destroyers." As the transmission ended, Jake looked out at the stars surrounding the Leviathan. Somewhere out there, alien governments were holding emergency meetings and recalculating their entire understanding of galactic power structures. Humanity had just announced its arrival in the galaxy, with a demonstration that would be remembered for centuries. 2 weeks after the Corden incident, Captain Jake Morrison found himself in the most important meeting of his life. The Galactic Council had called an emergency assembly, and this time they wanted to speak directly with the commander of humanity's most powerful ship. The council chamber on Nexus Prime had been modified to accommodate human atmospheric requirements. Jake sat at a specially constructed table, flanked by Dr. Elena Rodriguez and a small diplomatic team from Earth. Across from them, the 12 species of the Galactic Council watched with a mixture of fear, curiosity, and respect. Counselor Prime Zalthi's insectoid features clicked nervously as he opened the session. "Captain Morrison, your demonstration against the Corden fleet has changed everything. The Council must now reconsider humanity's place in galactic society." Jake had prepared for this moment, but the reality of addressing an entire galactic government still felt overwhelming. "Counselor Prime, humanity desires only peaceful coexistence with all species. Our actions against the Corden ships were purely defensive." "Defensive, perhaps," said Counselor Hex Mara of the Corden Empire, her reptilian features showing barely controlled anger. "But the ease with which you defeated our finest warships has made one thing clear: no species in this galaxy can stand against human military technology." "That's not entirely accurate," interrupted Counselor Peltara of the Etherian Collective, her ghostly form shimmering with ancient wisdom. "Captain Morrison, your ships could conquer us all, yet you have shown remarkable restraint. This suggests something important about human character." Dr. Rodriguez leaned forward. "If I may, counselors, humanity has learned through bitter experience that conquest brings only suffering. We prefer cooperation to domination." Counselor Vera Kwan of the Luminari flickered with interest. "Dr. Rodriguez speaks of experience. What conflicts has humanity faced?" Elena took a deep breath. "Counselors, human history includes thousands of wars between our own people. We have seen the cost of aggression and the value of peace. This is why we build strong defenses but seek diplomatic solutions." The council members exchanged glances, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of clicks, chimes, and energy fluctuations. Finally, Counselor Prime Zalthi spoke again. "Captain Morrison, the council has reached a decision. We formally invite humanity to join the Galactic Council as a member species." Jake felt his heart race. This was beyond anything Earth had hoped for when they first made contact. "Counselor Prime, we are honored by your invitation." "What would membership entail?" "Normally, new species begin as observers and work their way up through various levels of membership over decades or centuries," explained Counselor Theknor, his crystalline body chiming softly. "However, your technological capabilities require us to make an exception. We are offering humanity immediate Tier 1 civilization status," Zalthi continued. "This places you among the most advanced species in the galaxy, with full voting rights and responsibilities." The implications hit Jake immediately. Humanity would jump from unknown newcomers to major galactic powers in a single moment. "What responsibilities come with this status?" Counselor Peltara answered, her ancient voice carrying weight and wisdom. "Primary among them would be mutual defense obligations. Tier 1 species pledge to protect the Council and its members from external threats." "External threats?" Elena asked. "The galaxy beyond our borders is not entirely peaceful," Zalthi explained. "We occasionally face raids from hostile species outside Council space. Your military capabilities could revolutionize our defensive strategies." Jake realized they were asking humanity to become the galaxy's protectors. The idea was both flattering and terrifying. "Counselor Prime, humanity would need to consult with Earth before accepting such responsibilities." "Of course," Zalthi replied. "However, there is another matter we must discuss. Intelligence reports indicate that humanity is building additional ships similar to the Leviathan." Colonel Mary Phillips, who had been invited as the Leviathan's chief engineer, stood up. "Counselors, if I may address this concern." Please proceed, Colonel Phillips. Mary activated a holographic display showing human shipbuilding facilities. The Leviathan is the first of 12 planned Titan-class vessels. 4 additional ships are currently under construction, with completion expected within the next 5 years. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. 12 ships like the Leviathan would give humanity the most powerful space fleet in galactic history. Counselor Hexmara leaned forward aggressively. 12 such vessels could conquer our entire civilization. How do we know humanity won't use this power against us? Jake stood up, his voice firm but respectful. Because conquest has never been humanity's goal. We build these ships to protect ourselves and our allies. If we join the Council, we would consider all member species to be under our protection. And what if we refuse to accept humanity into the Council? Hexmara pressed. The question hung in the air like a threat. Jake could see the fear in the alien faces around him. They were trapped between accepting humanity as an ally or potentially facing them as an enemy. Then humanity would respect the Council's decision and maintain peaceful relations from outside. Jake replied carefully. We would not force membership on anyone. Counselor Peltara floated forward. Captain Morrison, your restraint continues to impress us. Most species with such power would make demands, not requests. Humanity believes that respect must be earned, not demanded, Jake replied. The Council deliberated for several hours while Jake and his team waited in a nearby chamber. When they were finally called back, Counselor Prime Zalthi's expression was grave but hopeful. Captain Morrison, the Council has voted to accept humanity as a Tier 1 member species. In exchange, we propose a mutual defense treaty. Humanity would provide military protection for Council space, while member species would share technology in medicine, agriculture, and faster-than-light communication. Jake felt excitement building in his chest. The offer was incredible. Humanity would gain access to technologies that could revolutionize life on Earth, while the galaxy would gain powerful protectors. There is one more element to our proposal, Zalthi continued. We would like to establish joint facilities for human and alien crews to work together. This would build trust and understanding between our species. Dr. Rodriguez smiled broadly. Counselor Prime, this exceeds our most optimistic hopes. Subject to Earth's approval, I believe humanity would be honored to accept. Excellent, Zalthi replied. We will begin drafting the formal treaty immediately. Captain Morrison, would you be willing to oversee the establishment of the first joint facility? Jake looked around the chamber at the alien faces watching him. A few weeks ago, these beings had been theoretical possibilities. Now they were becoming allies and partners in a galactic community. It would be my honor, Counselor Prime. 6 months later, Jake stood on the bridge of the Leviathan, watching as construction began on Starbase Olympus, humanity's first interstellar naval facility. The massive station would house ships from dozens of species, all working together to protect the galaxy. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hamilton approached his chair. Admiral Morrison, Earth Command is requesting an update on the integration programs. Jake smiled at his new rank. The promotion to Admiral had come with his appointment as commander of humanity's first interstellar defense fleet. Tell them everything is proceeding ahead of schedule. Our alien partners are eager to learn, and they have much to teach us as well. Through the bridge windows, Jake could see alien ships working alongside human vessels, their crews cooperating on tasks that would have been impossible just months before. The galaxy had indeed changed forever, but the changes had brought hope rather than fear. Lisa, Jake said, do you ever wonder what would have happened if that first meeting had gone differently? Lisa considered the question. I think the galaxy was ready for change, sir. Humanity just happened to be the catalyst. Jake nodded, watching the stars beyond the growing space station. Somewhere out there, other unknown species might be taking their first steps into space, wondering if they were alone in the universe. When they finally reached the stars, they would find a galaxy united in peace, protected by the combined strength of many worlds. The age of galactic cooperation had begun, and humanity had found its place among the stars.